Hello and welcome again. This is We Talk Football. Today, I wanted us to look at the Premier League, especially the match between Arsenal and Manchester City. I think that's going to be the biggest game of the weekend in the Premier League. Maybe that's going to be the biggest game in football for this weekend because I think both teams are the two biggest. Well, the two best teams in the past few seasons in the Premier League, Manchester City and Arsenal. They've been challenging each other for the title. Of course, Arsenal have not won that war, but it's been a very entertaining. It's been a good rivalry, and so today I wanted us to look at that match, a little bit of a preview, some statistics, and what I think is going to happen in the game. Of course, I am very nervous for that game. I don't feel very good about it, but let's see how it goes. I think it's going to be a great game, of course, at Arsenal at the Etihad. So, but before we get into that, please remember to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel at We Talk Football 24, and also follow us on Instagram at We Talk Football 24, and check us out on Facebook as well at We Talk Football. But yeah, let's get into it. Manchester City versus Arsenal. Okay, now as I said, we're going to be looking at Arsenal at the Etihad versus Manchester City as the biggest game in football this weekend, and I think it's going to be a good game to watch. I don't know if it's going to be a bit more entertaining than the reverse fixture from last season, when Arsenal went to the Etihad and we got a really good draw. I thought it was a really good draw, 0-0. But of course, I think it was it's, let me not say controversial, but it sparked a lot of debate, amongst the fans, amongst football pundits. My friends as well had lots of debates with my friends, and in my opinion, I thought it was a good draw. We went there, and we shut down a really prolific Manchester City team with Erling Haaland, and Kevin De Bruyne was back at that point, remember? And I thought we played a good game defensively. Defensively, we played a good game. Not so much offensively. I can't really say that we created a lot of chances. We had a few half chances to create a goal, but we didn't really go for the jugular. And at that point, I was really happy with the draw because it got us a point away at the Etihad. And I think we were still really in the title race, and it was a toss-up. I remember Liverpool was still in the title race as well. And one of my mates was a Liverpool fan. He said, because Arsenal got a draw and it didn't really look like they were going to win, Arsenal are a small-minded team. That's what he said. All right, and so the funny story thing is, and my reverse to him, my counterattack to him was, are Liverpool a big-minded team? And he said yes, and I asked him the question, will Liverpool win all their remaining games? Now, that was in March. Yeah, at the end of March. The whole of April, I think Liverpool in 9 games won 3, and they lost or drew. No, they lost 6. Wait a minute. Let me get this right. I remember they won 3 games, but the other 6 games, I think they drew a few but lost more than they drew. And it wasn't a good April for my friend because just the game before, just before April began, he guaranteed Liverpool would win all their remaining games and they would go on and win the title. So I remember that game I remember that time very vividly. Arsenal at the Etihad, but that was good. And I say this: both teams, Arsenal and Manchester City, have been the best teams in the Premier League for the past 2 seasons. Obviously, Manchester City winning 2 titles in that time, Arsenal finishing second back-to-back seasons. Last season we had 89 points, but if you look at 2024, right, and you look at the points tally that are predicted for both teams, that tells you that these two teams have been the best teams in the Premier League so far. Arsenal's points tally rate, where they are predicted to get to, their total tally points at the end of 2024 is 102 points. That is insane. And for Manchester City, their predicted points tally, total tally points would be 104 points. So that is crazy as well, to think that two teams could get to those kind of heights. But if you look at 2024, both teams have been incredible. Arsenal have only conceded 3 away goals all of 2024. That is really good. Defensively, I think we're clearly the best team in the Premier League defensively. But Manchester City, I think overall, are the better team. I think Manchester City are the best. I still think Manchester City are the best team in the world, even slightly above Real Madrid. I think the way Manchester City plays, the way they dominate, makes them the best team in the world. So it's going to be a really tough challenge for Arsenal to go there and get a result. I think I would still be happy with a draw. It's really early in the season. Both teams have played 4 games. Manchester City have been the best team, of course. They are on 12 points, while Arsenal are on 10 points. Arsenal are the second place team as we speak in the Premier League. So I think it's going to be a really, really good challenge. Now, I wanted to talk about something that I've heard a lot of pundits. I've heard Paul Scholes mention this. I've watched a lot of podcasts, and I've spoken to my friends as well, of course, as I mentioned, right? My mate from back home, who's a Liverpool fan. I've had debates and conversations on Facebook with different people, and there are also a lot of people who believe the other side, right? So let me say this: there are a lot of people who believe Arsenal should go to the Etihad and win. There are obviously so many more people as well who believe that getting a draw at the Etihad is okay. I haven't spoken to anyone who said a loss would also be okay, but it's either a draw or a win. That's very difficult to achieve at the Etihad, and to a lot of people that make it seem like Arsenal have to win at the Etihad. I vehemently disagree with them, because if you look. Now, let's talk about someone who has won titles, someone who won the Champions League and won the Premier League. I think the most important thing here is the Premier League. Jurgen Klopp won the Premier League in 2020 with Liverpool, of course. And if you look at Klopp's record against Pep, just specifically Pep, just the Klopp-Pep era, and you look at how Klopp played against Pep Guardiola at the Etihad away to Manchester City, you'll see that I think I can back my argument up by saying that Arsenal don't have to go to the Etihad and win the game. Klopp versus Pep at the Etihad. Oh wait, I didn't calculate this, but look, wait, give me a second. 8. So Klopp has played 8 games against Pep Guardiola at the Etihad. In the Premier League, this is just the Premier League, right? He's lost 3 and drawn 5. Lost 3, drawn 5. Never won, but they did win the Premier League in 2020, right? So in 2016, 2017, it was a 1-0 draw. 17-18, City won 5-0. In 1920, City won 2-1. In 1920, City, that's the season when Liverpool won the league. City won 4-0. In 21-20, it was a 1-0 draw. In 21-22, it was a 2-2 draw. In 22-23, it was a 2-2 draw again. And in the recent season that just ended, last season, it was a 1-0 draw, 23-24. So to people who keep saying that Arsenal have to win, I think it's unnecessary pressure for Arsenal to go to the Etihad and win in order for us to win the league, which I don't believe we need to win. I don't believe that Arsenal need to win at the Etihad to win the league. People talk about psychological battles and blah blah blah. It's just a whole lot of hogwash, and I really don't believe that Arsenal have to win. Now, what I do believe is that Arsenal need to get a result against Manchester City at the Etihad, at least a draw, and then I think Arsenal had the best record against Big Six teams, right? Now, we need to get a draw at the Etihad and still keep that really good record against Big Six teams. Tottenham, Man United, Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool, right? I think we still need to keep a good record, including Manchester City as well. But also there were small little games that we were expected to win and we either drew or lost. And I think that's where we lost the league. Because if you take into account the results that we had against Manchester City last season, we drew of course at the Etihad and won against them at the Emirates. And we finished with 89 points, they with 91 points. They won the league. But there were so many games where I felt like we lost points that we should not have lost. Okay? Especially in the first half of the season, where I remember Arsenal drew against Tottenham 2-2. Should have won that game. Arsenal drew against Fulham. Arsenal drew against Fulham at the Emirates, and then we lost to Fulham at Craven Cottage. You see, 2 games that we should have won. If we win one of those games, Villa at home, we lost 2-0 against West Ham. We lost against West Ham at the Emirates. So you see those games, those kind of games, the 2-2 draw against Spurs, 2-1 loss to West Ham, 2-1 lost at Fulham, 1-0 draw at the Emirates with Fulham. If you win just one of those games, which are winnable, we could have won against Spurs, we could have won against West Ham, we could have won against Fulham, we could have won all those games, all 4 of those games we could have won, and we would have won the league. So I don't think we lost the league when we drew against Manchester City, but I do believe that we should win all the other. That's why the Brighton game was so frustrating for me, because it kind of reminded me of some of the games that we drew or lost last season. It was one of those games where it was just really weird. Brighton are a good team. So were those teams last season. But it's games that you expect Arsenal to win. You expect us to dominate, go out there, get goals, win, be solid defensively. But we seemed very nervy, and we didn't seem to get a hold of the whole game. So I think that we need to improve on some of those games that we drew or lost last season. And I think we still need to get the same kind of results against the Big Six, including in this game against Manchester City, a draw. I think we definitely need to get a draw against Manchester City, at least. A win would be awesome, of course. But also the opposite of that is Manchester City could go to the Emirates and win, right? But if we get a draw, that would be great. Of course, if we get a win, outstanding. So that's where I'm at with Arsenal at the Etihad. I don't think we need to win, but I think we need to at least get a draw. Now, my other point would be to talk about Mikel Arteta and his record against Pep Guardiola. It's not a very good one. It's not a very pleasant record. Now, there's been as managers. Mikel Arteta has faced Pep Guardiola 13 times as a manager. Pep has won 9 games. There have been 2 draws and 2 wins for Mikel Arteta. And one of the draws came in the Community Shield last season. Not the recent Community Shield, but the one from last season when Arsenal faced Manchester City at Wembley. Finished 1-1, and then Arsenal won on penalties. I thought that was a really good win for us. We played well. It was a good way to get into the season to show that we could challenge and go up against Manchester City. But, Mikel Arteta has never won at the Etihad with Arsenal. And it's been a really long time since Arsenal won at the Etihad. I remember that game. It was in 2015. Arsenal won 2-0. Arsene Wenger was still the manager. We still had Santi Cazorla. I love Santi Cazorla. He had a blind over game. He was one of the best players at that point. Just for that little span, for that little time, he was probably the best player in the Premier League. He was going through people, nutmegging people, shifting one way, going the other, left foot, right foot. He was, a diminutive magician. I miss him. I wish we still had him. Of course, nostalgia, right? But it would be nice to have that kind of Santi Cazorla, especially in this game because we don't have Martin Odegaard. So it's been a really long time. It's been close to 10 years since we won at the Etihad. It's been 9 years. So I think it's going to be a tough game, especially because Mikel Arteta hasn't won against Pep Guardiola with Manchester City for Arsenal at the Etihad. It's going to be a really tough game. I do believe that we could get a draw. But, looking at the record for Mikel Arteta, what I will say is for Mikel Arteta, he does need to get more wins under his belt against Pep. That will probably come at the Emirates. Hopefully, we get more wins against Manchester City. I think at the Emirates, we'll have more pressure to win than at the Etihad. So, I think it's going to be a really nice game. But my final prediction, that's going to be tough. I think I'm ruling out a win for Arsenal. I don't think Arsenal are going to win. Either a draw or a win for Manchester City. But I've heard some people say, Man City is going to smash Arsenal. And, there is something in the back of my mind that would believe that. Because Man City have been so great. They have been domineering. They have been excellent all season. Erling Haaland has scored 9 goals. More than any other team, not just player, but more than any other team in the Premier League. He has 9 goals. The second top scorer in the league so far has 3 goals. Erling Haaland has 2 hat-tricks. If he gets another hat-trick, he'll have as many hat-tricks as the second placed top scorer has total goals this season. That's how good he has been. That's how good Man City have been. Savinho looks excellent. Gundogan is a good signing for Man City. On a free, he brings in experience and great quality. I think he still has the quality to compete and play well in the Premier League. And it's going to be a great game. I think they are still very, very dominant. As dominant as they are, also, I don't think they will smash Arsenal. I don't think it's going to be a big win for Manchester City where we lose who we are and we kind of lose our identity. Arsenal have been the best defensive team for the past 2 seasons. We've only conceded 3 away goals in 2024. That's excellence. That's something to stand on, to be proud of, to look at and think that's a great positive going to Manchester City. And I think if we lose, it's probably going to be a 2-0, maybe a 2-1, but not 4. I don't see Arsenal conceding 4 goals. When was the last time Arsenal conceded 4 goals? I think the last time we conceded 4 goals was in 2023 when we went to the Etihad and we lost 4-1. But Arsenal don't get battered that badly anymore because we've been so solid defensively. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. It's going to be an exciting game. Maybe for other people, I'm going to be nervous. I don't know how I'm going to watch the game, but I definitely will be. But let me know what you think. What are your predictions? Remember also to subscribe, follow us on social media at We Talk Football 24 on YouTube and Instagram, at We Talk Football on Facebook. Enjoy the game. Pray for an Arsenal win. Pray for us so that I'm happy. But yeah, have a nice weekend and take care.